Good day, friends and viewers all over the world. My name is Levi Kingsley. I want to use this medium to reach out to numerous students out there who have been finding science subjects extremely difficult. Over the years, I've been thinking, how can I be of help to such students out there? And that is why I've decided to come up with this platform. I'm going to use this platform to address science subjects such as mathematics, physics, chemistry, agricultural science, biology, technical drawing or engineering drawing, basic electronics, basic electricity, advanced mathematics, advanced physics, advanced chemistry, first year, second year, third year courses in sciences. All these areas are what I am going to use this platform to address. I don't want students to complain again that some questions are difficult in science, in as much as they are ready to learn. So your readiness is another thing that plays important, vital role here. Your curiosity for learning and other things like that. So I want you to use this platform as a medium to learn whatever you want to learn in life, especially in science subjects. Today, I am going to start with mathematics as the first subject, which will form the introductory aspect of this platform. Remember that my vision for doing this is to ensure that questions involving science subjects are simplified to every child's or student's understanding. Then my mission here is to reach out to numerous students, hundreds, thousands, millions of students that are finding science subjects extremely difficult. I think the only way for me to help here is to come up with something like this. And that is why I've decided, no, there must be a way out to help these students out there. What you need to do is to avail yourself of this opportunity and then go on and register. Get this platform. Stay at home and learn. It's very simple. Then secondly, I want you to understand that there is no subject that is difficult to learn. There is no topic that is difficult to teach. There is no subject that is difficult to learn or difficult to teach. There is also no topic that is difficult to teach or learn. So it all depends on you. If your teachers have done their own part by teaching you, you should also do your own part by learning. Hence, the essence of this platform. I want you to join me today. Join me by making sure you have access to this platform. It's just a personal means of assisting you to learn what you may have been finding extremely difficult over the years. I am going to simplify every concept here and make it accessible to you wherever you are. Wherever you are. That is my intention. That is my mission here. So today, I am going to kickstart this platform with the first subject, mathematics. And I'm going to treat briefly quadratic equation by considering first of all the general representation of quadratic equation. And from there we take it and move on with it. Thank you. Just stay put and watch how it resolves itself. Okay, so what we have today, as I earlier said, we are going to consider mathematics. That's the first subject I want us to consider in this platform. So, mathematics. Today is I'm going to use today is Friday, the 13th day of September, 13th day of September 2019. So mathematics is the first subject we are going to handle here. Then the first topic we are going to handle here or treat here as part of the introductory aspect of this platform is quadratic equation. Topic here is quadratic equation. Yes, quadratic equation is the topic we're going to handle here. I really want you to understand that quadratic equation can be generally represented by this expression. A squared plus bx plus c all equal to 0, where the letters are properly defined. Yes, the letters are properly defined here, where a implies the coefficient of x squared. A stands for the coefficient of x squared. You must understand that a is a letter attached to a quantity, a variable, x squared, and that is why it is referred to as the coefficient of x squared at this point. So that is it. Then the other one is b. B implies a coefficient, the coefficient of x, just ordinary x. Remember, we have about 1, 2, 3, 4 letters, variables here, that we must understand their importance in the general representation of a quadratic equation and what they stand to do, or what they stand, their position in that general representation. Then the other one is c. C is the constant term. Constant term simply means that this term has no variable. It's just a numeric value. Okay? It's just a number. Doesn't have any variable. It's just on its own. So you have to consider it that way. Now, if you understand this concept, it's very simple. The next thing we are going to do is to begin to resolve it accordingly. Now, 0 there shows that this general representation of a quadratic equation, at the end of solving this, by the time we start solving from first step down to the last step, we are going to have 2 roots. Yes, we are going to have 2 roots. And these roots are actually what we are looking for. In every quadratic equation, you are looking for 2 roots. And that is why you must consider the fact that there is a square here. Then the essence of the square, if you check very well at the general representation, you will see a square. It means that you will have a curve if it is plotted. If this general representation is plotted, you will have a curve. It could come from up and move down, or it could go from down and move up. So we have different aspects of representation of quadratic equation in various forms. It could come as a parabolic equation, it could come as a hyperbolic equation, it could come as an elliptical equation. So these are areas of quadratic equation we are going to consider. But first of all, let's just kickstart this platform with this analysis, and that will give us a strong basis, or a strong base on which we can stand now and move on from time to time. So I want you to understand that anything that has to do, or rather any question that has to do with quadratic equation is very simple. It all depends on your readiness to learn. It all depends on your curiosity to learn. It all depends on your focus. It all depends on your attention. It all depends on how determined you are as a student to learn this subject. You must understand something. After this time out, you will know that these things that you learn in school, they are very simple. It all depends who teaches you and the you. These are 2 persons involved in learning. Anyway, that's not what we're discussing today. What I'm trying to say here is that if you really want to understand any topic and you are determined to do so, you will get it. You will have it. You will learn it. It's not difficult. So let's move on. So 0 determines the fact that after resolving this general representation, we are going to arrive at 2 roots. 2 roots, positive or negative, or positive and negative, positive and positive, or negative and negative values. These are the format, or rather the forms of the roots. Okay? Now, let's consider this in general aspect of it. Let's just try and see what we can do to resolve this completely. Having said that, we now move into stepwise approach. We can resolve this. we can resolve this. But before we mention the methods of solving quadratic equation, I want us to resolve this. As I said earlier, we can resolve this using stepwise approach. Stepwise approach. You see that there is nothing there. It's just you being ready to learn, as I said earlier. So we start with step 1. We are going to start with step 1. Step 1. Remember, this is the general representation now. We are not going to touch it. It will remain like this until we are done with the resolution stepwise approach, okay? Because I've said it before that we are going to use a stepwise approach to resolve this, okay? And that's what we are going to do now. Step 1, we are going to, the instruction on step 1 is very simple. Divide through with the coefficient of x squared. That's the instruction of step 1. Divide through with the coefficient of x squared. So what's the coefficient of x squared? You can see a is the coefficient of x squared. And the instruction says divide through with the coefficient of x squared. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Ax squared over a, I'm dividing instantly. Okay? Or we can first of all, before division, write down the general representation first. This is the general representation, and then divide underneath it. Okay? Over a plus bx over a plus c over a all equals to 0 over a. But you know that this will not stand, this will not be like this, because anything dividing 0 remains 0, okay? Anything that tries to divide, that tries to have something to do with 0 in terms of mathematics or in terms of anything remains 0, especially when it has to do with division and multiplication. Please take note. But if it has to do with subtraction or addition, 0 will not affect anything. Okay. So the next thing we are going to arrive with, if you check very well, you see that this a will take care of this a. Okay? That is it. It will take care of this a. Very good. And at the end we have x squared remaining plus b x over a plus c over a all equal to 0. This normalizes. Now we arrive at our normal 0 as before. So the next thing we are going to do here. So this is our final resolution by adhering to step 1 instruction. This is our final resolution by adhering to step 1 instruction. The instruction on step 1 says divide through with the coefficient of x squared, and that is exactly what we have done. That is exactly what we have done. Then the next thing we are going to consider is step 2. Let's see what step 2 says, or the instruction on step 2 and how to handle it. So if you check very well, you see this is very, very clear. Okay? Every serious student or any serious student that really understand what it means to study will understand this. Yeah. So if you a closer look at this will show that this is a clear steps. This is a clear step on how to resolve on how to resolve step 1. So we'll move on to step 2. Step 2. Remember the final resolution of step 1? This is what we are trying to do now is to get step 2. This is the final resolution of step 1. And we are going to repeat. We are going to write down the final resolution of step 1 and build on it to get the final resolution of step 2. So step 1 first is x squared over, okay, we don't need over again, bx over a plus c over a all equal to 0. Remember, this is the final resolution of step 1. Then step 2 comes after this. Step 2. Step 2 says take take the constant term to the right hand side, side. Take the constant term to the right hand side. That's what the instruction on step 2 says. The instruction on step 2 is very simple. Take the constant term to the right hand side. Already the constant term is found on the left hand side. So it has to be taken to the what? Right hand side for us to be able to resolve other aspects of this general representation of quadratic equation. So exactly what we're going to do. So we are going to do that. We are going to do that by considering the fact that at the left hand side, the constant term, which happens to be c over a now, is positive. It's positive. So for us to remove it from this left hand side and introduce it to the right hand side, we need to introduce what? Minus sign. Another constant with minus value or sign. And that goes this way: x squared plus b x over a plus c over a minus c over a is equal to 0 minus c over a. So you can see we now have a second term, a second constant term with a negative value. The essence is this: for it to nullify the first one and remove it entirely from the left hand side and subsequently introduce it to the right hand side. That's the essence. And finally, what we're going to have is just x squared plus b x over a all equal to 0 is not in here, minus c over a. That's what we're going to have at the end of it. That is it. Then the next thing we are going to consider, if you understand properly, you will see that this also forms the final resolution of what? Step 2. This is the final resolution of step 2 because we have done what the instruction on step 2 says. The instruction on step 2 says, take the constant term to the right hand side, and this is the constant term. Though it was positive at the left hand side, but now in the right hand side it is negative. So that is it. So we are done. So this is the final resolution of step 2. Now we are going to build on this to get the final resolution of what? Step 3. Okay, we'll move on. You check very well, it's very clear. The steps are very, very clear. So this is something you can easily look at and understand. It is highly self-explanatory. Thank you. So please pay attention. This will help us. If you understand this, you solve any question involving quadratic equation. In general mathematics, yes. Okay. We will have this now. Then the next thing we are going to consider is step 3. Let's quickly consider step 3. Let's quickly consider step 3. Step 3, very, very important. And it will help us to know the area we're going to concentrate. Step 3 now. But before step 3, we need to rewrite. We need to do what? Rewrite step 2. And then build on it to get what? Step 3. So step 2 is x squared plus bx over a all equals to minus c over a. So this step 2. Final resolution of step 2. So step 3. We have find the half of the coefficient of x, comma, square and add it to both sides. Add it to both sides. That's the instruction here. The instruction here is find the half of the coefficient of just x in the equation, Then after finding it, square and then add it to both sides. Exactly what we're going to do. But for the time being, we are going to use this as rough. Yes, to give you half now. So half multiplied by the coefficient. The coefficient is b over a. That is b over a. If we do this, we square. So the half here is very simple. We have b over 2a all squared. Then what we have here is exactly what we're going to put while writing the general expression once again. While writing the third expression based on the instruction given on step 3. So we have x squared plus bx over a plus, I'm going to add, because I'm going to add this, because I've squared it here, I'm going to introduce it now. It becomes b over 2a squared is equal to minus c over a plus b over 2a all what? Squared. So that is it. So that is it. Finally, we have x squared plus what? b x over a plus, this remains b over 2a squared. Of course, we have this is 2a squared is equal to, this becomes minus c over a. Now this one becomes b squared over 4a squared. Yes, so this is the final resolution of the instruction on step 3. Final resolution of instruction on step 3. So it's very simple. So we are going to build on this and then move on from there. So the next thing we are going to do is to build on this and move on from there. Now, to get step 4. And step 4 is very simple as well. So just take a very close look at this. You see the steps are clear and well explained. When you learn it, you put it into practice. It works out for you. And it's very simple. Hurry. That is it. So let's move on to step 4. Step 4. These are the steps we are going to apply anytime we want to solve problems involving quadratic equation. If we are not constrained, if we are not restricted to a particular formula, because we have about 4 methods of solving quadratic equation, which we are going to discuss later in this platform, of course. So let's move on to step 4. Quickly, step 4, we now have step 3. So we are going to rewrite step 3, the final resolution of step 3, we are going to rewrite it. We have x squared plus bx over a plus b over 2a squared minus c over a plus b squared over what? 4a squared. This is the final resolution of step 3. So from here we get step 4. Step 4, quickly. We are going to have step 4 here. Step 4 says factorize the left-hand side. Factorize the left-hand side. Factorize the left-hand side and find the LCM of the right-hand side. So these are the things we are going to consider now, or treat now. Quickly, we factorize x goes here, then we pick this and that will go together. That's the factorization here. Then here we are going to consider something here. 2 terms that when you add together or subtract will give you the middle term. And when you find the product, it will give you what? The constant term. That is the meaning of factorization. And here we have x, we have x here, and you see these ones will go this way, b over 2a squared. And then the LCM here is 4a squared. If a goes against 4a squared, it's going to lower this to 4a. It's going to lower this. It remains 4a. And then this 4a will multiply minus c. Minus c multiplied by 4a will give us minus 4ac. Then you put your plus sign. 4a squared goes against itself, divide itself. Get 1. And that 1 will multiply with b squared. It remains b squared. Nothing changes. So at the end, we can rewrite this, or we can write x plus b over 2a squared is equal to b squared minus 4ac all over 4a squared. That is it. This is the final resolution of step 4. Final resolution of step 4. Very simple. When you do this and apply it practically, it works out and you have your answer. Final resolution, remember. Then we'll move on to the next one, which is the 5th step, or step 5. So just take a good look at this. You will see it's very simple. The steps are clear for your understanding. Then the next step we are going to consider is step 5. We are going to quickly consider that because we're almost coming to the end of this. So step 5. Step 5 is find the square roots of both sides. Find the square roots of both sides. Quickly, we are going to look at the square root of both sides. Step 5. But before that, we rewrite step 4, which is x plus b over 2a squared plus, what do we have here? We have what? B squared plus minus 4ac all over what? Or 4a squared. So this is what we had. So step 5 says find the what? Step 5, the instruction of step 5 says find the square root. Find the square roots of both sides. Of both sides. Yes. So the square root of both sides is very simple. You at the left hand side, you have a bracket x plus b over 2a squared at the left hand side. At the right hand side, because we are going to find the square root of both sides, so we are going to introduce positive upon negative. The reason is that you don't understand, you don't know the value of a square root, whether it is positive or whether it is negative. And that is why we are going to introduce positive upon negative, plus upon roots of this baggage, b squared minus 4ac all over what? 4a squared. So that is it. So this will take care of this. This squared will take care of this root, and it's gone. This will take care of this root. And we have x plus b over 2a is equal to plus upon minus roots b squared minus what? 4ac over 4a squared. So this, once again, is the final resolution of step 5. Please take a good look at this. Memorize it. Know it. Make it part of your learning tips. Yeah. Know it. Make it part of you. And anytime you want to solve problems involving quadratic equation, and you are not constrained or restricted to use a particular method, go on and use any method of your choice, especially these processes being outlined, or rather these steps being outlined at this point. So this is the end of step 5. And finally, we are going to move into step 6. Step 6 will simplify everything and we arrive at 2 roots, as I earlier said. Isn't that interesting? Quite interesting. You can use this to resolve any question, any problem in a quadratic equation. Remember, I said quadratic equation. There are numerous topics in mathematics, but we're going to take them one at a time. Okay? We are going to take them one at a time and then move on. Remember the essence of this: to simplify mathematical problems to the understanding of every child out there, in every home. Very soon I'm going to give you my contacts, my number, my Facebook handle, Twitter handle, Instagram, and all what, even YouTube, and all what have you. So whatever you need, I want you to have access to me. Have access and gain this knowledge. Learn. If you don't learn, you'll be relegated. Nobody wants to remain where he or she has been. You have to make some moves in life. You have to upgrade yourself. You have to read. You have to learn with the opportunity that presents itself. Okay, let's move into step 6 quickly. Step 6. Remember the extent we've gone. Step 5. Step 6 quickly. Without wasting our time, we'll move into step 6. Recall step 5. Remember, we've done something concerning step 5 now. So this is the final resolution that has been wiped off. Then we'll rewrite step 5 again as x plus b over 2a is equal to plus upon minus roots b squared minus 4ac over what? 4a squared. So here, step 6 says, simple simplification. I think we are done almost. Step 6 is very simple. Okay? Make x the subject of the formula. Make x the subject. The subject of the expression. Make x the subject of the expression. Look at it. Look at the expression. And this was gotten from step 5. Instruction given on step what? 5. That's this. So the statement of step 6 is make x the subject of the expression. This is the expression being referred to. We are going to make x the subject of the expression. And that can be done by introducing a negative sign with this factor. With this factor b over 2a to both sides. We are going to introduce another factor minus b over 2a to the left hand side and at the same time to the right hand side. Here we go. X. Sorry, I'm having trouble with this marker, so but it doesn't matter. We have minus, we have a b over 2a minus b over 2a. The essence is that this one will nullify this. Then we introduce to this side minus what? B over 2a plus upon minus. We can now resolve this. We can split this roots. It becomes b squared minus 4ac over 4a squared. Roots. You can see the root has been split respectively. So at this point, plus b over 2a minus b over 2a nullifies themselves. Yeah, and we have x is equal to minus b over 2a plus upon minus. This remains because it's a complex number. It remains b squared minus 4ac over root 4 will give us 2. Okay? Then root a squared will give us just a. That's it now. And that is it. That is what we are trying to say. At the end, if we take this up, now, what we are going to have is very simple. At the end, our results, finally, our final results, becomes, from this, we find the LCM of both 2a and 2a, and it will give us x is equal to, LCM of both sides will give us just 2a. B goes the same thing, have minus b plus upon minus. Then we have what? Root or b squared minus 4ac. This will be our final result. This is exactly what our result will be. Then roots of the equation. Roots. We are going to have a root 1 and another root 2. So for root 1, we have minus b. We go with plus first. Root square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. That's the first root, x1. Second root, x2 is equal to minus b minus this baggage. Remember, we're taking from here up. B squared minus 4ac all over what? 2a. So these are the two roots, as I earlier mentioned. These are the two roots you are going to see in quadratic equation. First one, x1 is equal to minus b plus root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Then the second root is minus b minus, because we are considering plus upon minus. That's the reason why we have what? Two roots. And remember, we considered the s squared is going to be a curve if plotted. So that is it. Then the final, we have the second root, which is minus b minus root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Thank you very much.